Hello, this is the Commercial Landscaper Podcast with Robert Clinkenbeard. This show will transform your leadership by developing all areas of your life, business, family, personal and health. Only by fine-tuning yourself will you truly operate at a highly functioning leader. Super excited today to announce that we're just surpassed the 100th edition of the Commercial Landscaper Show. And we're going to see better things from us this year. We're going to be introducing some education, courses in leadership and sales that you could apply and join and try to improve yourself. So hopefully you can join us in some of these courses and reach out if you want to hear some new guests. This is all about bettering you, bettering your business, and make you function at a super high level. Thanks again, everyone. Cheers. Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard, the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm super excited to be joined again by Aiden Silvers. Aiden, you were on my show, I don't know, maybe I feel it was about 9 months to a year ago. So excited to see you back on the show. I know you've gone through a little bit of rebranding, but we've caught up again ourselves recently. So maybe just for the audience who haven't heard you before, maybe just talk a little bit about your background and your involvement with the green industry.
Absolutely, Robert. It's great to be back. And believe it or not, I think it's a bit longer than that, probably back in the very beginning of 2021.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Time
flies, doesn't
passes. I know it does, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, a lot has changed since then, and I'm excited to, update you and your audience on what we're up to and kind of give you a look inside of my world today. So just for those of you who are curious of who I am, my name is Aiden Silvers. I'm the founder and CEO of Green Marketing, and we offer comprehensive marketing solutions for lawn and landscape professionals. So our stuff is all inclusive. You either want a full program with the whole shebang, or we're not a good fit for you. Because we believe that unless you do all of these different components of marketing, it's very difficult to have success. We not recently, but we rebranded since I was on Robert's podcast early last year. We were previously Realistic Web Design, and now we're Green Marketing, of course. Realistic Web Design was kind of a play on words. I'm physically disabled in a wheelchair, so I tried to tie in realistic and realistic into a brand to reflect my personality, because I believe that in business it's crucial to know the leader of who you're partnering with. So I tried to do that. I didn't really get the traction I wanted for about 5 or 6 years as a general agency. And then I semi-niched into the green industry. We didn't change names or nothing until about last year in April or May. We went all in, changed to green marketing. We're all exclusive to green industry now. We don't have anybody outside of the niche, and we don't want anybody outside of the niche because that's how much we love you guys. So
yeah, I mean, such a great industry. We've obviously been both part of for years, and I really appreciate the green industry and what it's done for me and my family. What was, I suppose, one of the reasons why you were initially attracted to the green industry?
yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot. For one, it's not like it was a super strategic move. There was some moves that were strategic, but it kind of just fell in my lap, and I chalk it up to being part of my destiny and the path that I'm supposed to be on. But we did identify that there really wasn't a whole lot of great marketing partners in the niche. So there's a vulnerability to come in and establish a high authority because of service quality. And then for two, the industry is really easy to get into if you are a hard worker. If you have a great work ethic, you can come in with next to nothing and work your way up from scratch. That's really important to me because I'm coming into your business as your entire marketing department essentially. And I kind of look at it as a partnership in a way. Obviously, no legal like terms there, but I want to come in and work with you for the rest of your business career, years and years to come, and help you scale to where you want to be. And if your work ethic just isn't there, it's not going to work. And so, previously as a general agency, we would run into that issue a lot where the individual who's a car wash or, a repair shop, they didn't really have that big of a work ethic. So our efforts were, not received to the full potential. And that sucks to put a lot of effort in and have someone not pick up the phone, or, they're not committed, and they're a side hustle, whatever, right? So it kind of fits in perfectly with what I'm looking for.
No, that's perfect. Talk to me a little bit about your rebranding exercise, because I think in my experience that a lot of people will just think up their name, maybe a quick sketch of a logo, and then suddenly they're off to the races. And as companies develop and grow their company, then they sort of think, well, maybe that name's wrong, or maybe we have to go through a rebranding exercise. Nobody really has an idea what that looks like.
Right.
So talk about just, from a professional point of view, how what does that rebranding look like? How do you, I suppose, gather everybody's thoughts, whether it be clients, whether it be employees, and trying to develop that rebrand?
Sure. So, for one, branding to me is the highest level of things that I chase. Brand equity. It's very important, and it's one of the most impactful marketing components, but it's not something that you can just like put a dollar in and get back. It's something that you have to build over time, and a lot of different techniques to build that. And so with things like a name, for example, I don't think they're as important as most think. There's some, we get some clients that will get hung up on trying to get a name for months and months, right? And I'm like, okay, the example I like to use is Nike. Nike is something made up, right? If you just heard of the word Nike and you didn't know of who they were, you would have no idea what they are, right? But it is a part of branding, but it's not everything. Branding really is the content, the visuals, the creative, all the, again, content that you push being contextual and built for a specific audience, right? You have to really identify who your audience is and then make all these things speak to that audience. And that is the foundation of your brand that will scale and build over time. And then people will think of green marketing and know who it is because they see videos and content and talking about landscaping tips and marketing tips and having people on our podcast like you, Robert, right? And kind of just focusing on one category of things in order to create what's really a feeling or a vibe or a connection between us, our brand, and our consumer, right? And when you have that connection with your consumer, the trust that you build is huge. Like, for example, we really don't do a whole lot of convincing or selling with our marketing. People know our brand, and when they're ready to market, they come to us and they're like, "We're ready to sign up," right? And that's
Cool.
because of our brand equity and our ability to showcase that we are here for a very specific thing, and we're really good at it. And here's the proof, right? And when you can do that, you don't really need to do you know beat other bidders or lower cost, those types of things, because you have something unique that is being sought after.
Right. No, I love that. And to take that a little bit further, I mean, the exercise doesn't just end at creating that brand. I mean, once Nike came up with the name and maybe a logo connected to that name, they just didn't stop there. They needed some type of a strategy, for months, for years afterwards, and how they were going to launch that into the marketplaces. I suppose there's all these different stages of, releasing that brand and keeping that brand in people's, first of, in the forefront of their mind. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure thing. So it actually goes back to my previous statement of we offer all-inclusive programs. If you ain't ready to jump on that bus, then we're not going to stop for you. And that goes to the point of like a whole brand strategy, a whole marketing strategy. You want to have everything working together full circle in order to just shove your brand in the face of your audience wherever they are. And the attention of the market is really your biggest thing that you need to understand, right? And if your audience is on TikTok, what do you think you need to be? You need to be on TikTok. If they're on Craigslist, you need to be on Craigslist, right? It doesn't really matter the platform as long as you identify where they are and then plaster your brand everywhere and content at scale, right? But it is important to establish your brand before you blast it out there and push it out there. Like, what is your mission statement? What is your core values, right? Like when someone looks at your brand's very primary focus, right? 20 seconds, they should be able to figure out what you do, what value you can bring them within 15, 20 seconds. And that's going to make them have a decision on should I dive deeper into looking at this or not, right?
Yeah.
Especially in today's world, attention spans are way shorter than that. And so it's important to make it very clear what you do, how you do it, and at what level. Otherwise, no one's going to want to really dig deep enough to find that out.
No, for sure. And you just mentioned a part there. I mean, we're obviously in a totally different world than we were 3 years ago with COVID, with, recession, with supply chain issues. I mean, it's totally different than it was 3 years ago. How have you seen the whole branding or marketing strategy change during those last 3 years? And what are some of the things you're telling your clients over the next 12, 18 months as we even potentially experience some other changing dynamics?
Sure thing. So it's a really interesting question and a lot to unpack. I'm going to try to do that as best as I can. But I think that, the whole idea of what's really changed in marketing or, the right way to do things, I don't think anything has changed. I think that marketing has, just like everything, there's a right way to perform a surgery and a wrong way, right? And marketing, for those that are experts in it and do dedicate their lives to it, they're doing the same things that they were doing 5 years ago, which is following the trends, looking at data and making decisions based on that, looking at, new algorithm updates, looking at basically however the platforms are, get whatever they're doing to give you the best opportunity to market. As a marketer, it's up to us to, stay updated on that and to execute. But I can tell you what has changed is obviously COVID, right? The economy, all these different things I would consider extreme adversities in the world accelerate the need for convenience and efficiency and solutions, right? It's like when you go through rough times, you seek a solution much quicker than you do when things are good, right? If you're comfortable, things are okay, you're content with where you are, you're not really too worried about growing or new solutions, right? But when things get tight and things get scary, it's like put on the gas, looking for that thing that's going to work. So what I think has changed is the market's opinion on I need marketing versus I don't need it, right? I think a lot more people realize now that unless I have stability and consistency for my business, and that comes through marketing, then whenever there is a crisis, how am I going to survive, right? So I think really, again, the whole adversity thing and the challenges like forces people kind of open their eyes a little bit and know that life ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and it changes, right? And if you don't have a strategy to consistently generate leads or be in the face of people, then you're going to ride those waves extremely um inefficiently, right? The ups and downs are going to hurt a lot. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, right? And then of course there is micro changes in the marketing realm, like what's working and what's not working. But it really is about the attention of your consumer and being there, right? That's always the name of the game. That never changes. Just the platforms and the way that you deliver the content and the assets.
No, I agree. And something I heard the other day is that creating content and especially unique content is going to be so important for the next years. But excuse me, the other challenge that certainly there's been a historical pattern around that is as we go through some challenging times. I remember all too well when I had my landscape business back in 2008 to 11, that one of the big questions we had was, do we keep up with marketing? Do we keep up with our sales team? We would spend 200,000-300,000 a year on that stuff, and that was one of the first areas that certainly I challenged. And so my partner and I used to have some pretty interesting discussions around that. But there's been a historical, I suppose, challenges that it's one of the areas that's typically chopped as we go through some tough times.
Sure, if I remind you of those days, right? And so I think that it really does come down to preference. You definitely want to be smart with how you operate. I think it's a good idea to evaluate and reevaluate things, whether it's good or bad throughout the year, right? Maybe once a year, 2 times a year. I do know that fear is a very heavy weight when you're making business decisions, and it clouds your vision. And for example, a lot of people are right now with the economy and kind of the uncertainty of the future for our country. And I don't want that to sound extreme. Like I don't think we're going anywhere, but it is kind of odd to see the way economy's working and cost of goods are through the roof, and like the housing market hasn't crashed. It's like really weird, right? And so with that, there's a lot of businesses that are kind of holding back and they're a little fearful because they don't know what's going to happen. And in my mind, again, I'm trying to remove like fear out of the equation. So when you see the need to pull back, I see, as an entrepreneur, I see a vulnerability in the market. Because if 70%, 80%, even 50% of people are pulling back on the market and not, taking their hand out of the bucket, so to speak, I'm putting both hands in the bucket, because now it's way easier for me to scoop up a larger share of the market because there's less competition in terms of marketing, right? And if you have 100 people marketing in your area for lawn maintenance and 20% of them are good, right? That's tough to get market share. If you have 30 people marketing in your area, still 20% of them are good, that's way easier to come in because you're able to be showcased more and you're in the front of more people for a longer period of time, right? It's no longer like a huge crowd to stand out from. And if your branding and your marketing and all that is on point, you're going to be front and center of the line, right? So I think when times get tough, it's a preference thing of what are your ambitions, and do you live your life in fear because everything's risky, right? A Jim Rohn quote. I've been really into Jim Rohn. He said something like, all of life is a risk, and it's so risky that you're not going to make it out alive. So, how much risk are you willing to take here? And just be confident, have conviction in what you're doing, and go all in. Don't look back, right? So that's kind of my mindset. It's not for everyone. It can be scary, maybe a little too risky. Maybe I'm a gambler, right? But I know that I have things I want in life, and in order to get those, I have to do things that other people are not going to do,
Yeah.
which is put all my chips in the table at some point. And if I lose it all, I'm going to start over and do it again.
No, I agree with you 100%. And one of the phrases I love, in fact, I think it's on the back of my computer, is only good things happen on the other side of fear.
So true. Yep.
And you're right. I think if people are asleep at the wheel, or they're just stagnant because of the fear of what's coming ahead of them, then yeah, there are the entrepreneurs, they're the people that want to go out there and grab as much land as possible, while those people are still asleep at the wheel. So I think you're right. Just taking a non-emotional approach to what's happening out there. And you touched on it earlier, where if there's data available for you to make more informed decisions, whether it be marketing data or other things around you, then that definitely helps with your decision making.
Yeah, I try to look at business is just part of life, right? It's not like its own little thing that's separate from life. And so when I make business decisions at that level, I try to look at a broader scale. And it's like, I've asked myself a few questions. Do I see America disappearing anytime soon? I think you and me would both agree that that's not happening, right? Might take a little dip. It's always going to come back up.
Yeah.
And when you look at things like investing in the stock market, I mean, everybody knows the approach of like buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah.
When things drop to the bottom and everybody's afraid, they're gonna buy because it's gonna come back. Unless we disappear off the face of the earth, it's going to come back, and it'll come back 10 times better than it was before. If anybody's into like cryptocurrency or blockchain, if you look at those historical records, like it's ridiculous. And the reason it drops so substantially is because people are fearful that it's not here to stay, right? But technology doesn't care about your feelings and what you think about it. It's going to do what it's going to do, and it keeps coming back over the years 10 times better in cycles, and eventually it'll get to a point to where it's consistently sustainable, right? And so I think it's all the same game here, just through different lenses and different lifestyles. And again, like, let's go, feet on the gas, right?
Yep. I love that. I love that.
Since May, our company is 3x since May. So
wow, nice job. That's awesome.
when people say the economy's bad or whatever, it's like I get what they're saying, but not for me. Like, we're doing great over
you've
here.
got
Our
your foot in the gas. That's awesome.
Yeah, and our clients are doing great too. Like, everyone's winning here. So
right.
I think it's about what you choose to look at, right?
Yep, I agree. So, Aiden, we're just wrapping up here in a second. How do people get in touch with you, get in touch with your company, find out what you guys do, how it potentially could help them? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Sure thing, friend. First of all, I appreciate you, interviewing me again and having me on. It's always a great chat with you. And I'm really sad we couldn't meet at Elevate. It was just so like awkward, and
Yeah, no, I was hoping to meet you actually in person, and I think every time I saw you, had like a crowd of people. So you were obviously a popular guy there.
Yeah, it's pretty usual, honestly. It's not it's a little bit of claustrophobia, but sorry, I'm working on that. But people can find my company, Green Marketing. Just Google us. We're based out of Florida. We're the one with like 300 5-star reviews or something like that. something ridiculous. Our website is greenmarketingfl.com. What I prefer is you reach out directly to me. I love to communicate with prospects and people who are interested in working with us. I handle all the quote unquote sales and expectation setting because I want to make sure we're coming together and we have a good relationship moving forward, right? And so you can have an open door policy. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Aiden Silvers, or my email is aiden@greenmarketingfl.com. Aiden spelled AIDEN. And kind of our flow that we run with is you would just schedule a 15-minute kind of pre-qualification with us. I would get to know you, your operations. You get to know me, my operations, ambitions. And if it's something you're interested in, we would schedule about an hour-long call and really dive in to see what we can do to help you.
Awesome. Aiden, really appreciate your time today. It's always good to see you, hear that you're doing some great things, you're making a difference, and I always value our time together. So thank you again for your time today, and I look forward to chatting more.
Pleasure, my friend. Are you going to Equip?
I am not going, but two of my team members will be there. So we're on a panel and excited to see that show. So will you be there?
I will not, but I am also sending 2 team members up there. So
all right, cool. Well, maybe they can meet up and have dinner or something.
Absolutely. I'll let them handle that long trek. I'm good here for a while.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, Aiden, well, thank you again, and have a great day.
You too, friend. Bye-bye.
Okay, cheers. Bye. That was the Commercial Landscaper podcast hosted by Robert Clinkenbeard, and I'm the author of the Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs. If you want to find out more about the show, you're welcome to go to thecommerciallandscaper.com, or if you want to learn more about courses, education, buying some books, even if you want to just drop a note and suggest a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Again, this is Robert Clinkenbeard, the Commercial Landscaper podcast. Cheers, everyone.